honestly, respect for sticking with your team. Respect for staying with the Jets.
Yeah.
After this
Anyone
long.
who's just switched teams like as an adult because their team was bad, I don't respect you. I don't think that you should be allowed to say you're a fan of any team. Personally, there's a difference between like I moved to a new city and I just kind of got on board with the hometown team. Cool.
Okay.
Your team still better be number one, or I just don't think you're that big of a fan. Truly.
What's the
age of innocence?
Well, there's sort of like an age cutoff where that's acceptable, or is it also maybe like how long you've been a fan of the team that it lets. So for instance, I saw a post the other day on Instagram, and it was from a kid who's in like high school. I think he was like 16 or something like that, and he's not like a creator or anything, but the post blew up. It has like couple 10,000 likes or something like that. When I found it, it was at like 9,000 likes. I assumed it kept going up after that. He was a Clippers fan that posted like a carousel Instagram post of all of his like growing up in like Clippers jerseys and stuff. And the post was, "Hey, I've been a Clippers fan my entire life. I love LA sports. I really wanted this team to be good. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it with the way they've managed this team. I'm over it. They've disrespected our like greatest players, the guys that made me fall in love with this sport and this team, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. They've disrespected these guys for too long. And I am switching over to being a Lakers fan." I commented on the video and I said, "Welcome to the purple and gold, brother." First of all, with a purple and gold heart. And then Slim Dookie, guess who else commented on that post?
Who?
Blake Griffin. Commented on that post. And he said, "I don't blame you." Blake Griffin basically supported the kid leaving the Clippers and becoming a Lakers fan. Blake Griffin is probably the most famous, outside of Chris Paul, the most famous Clipper of all time.
Yeah.
If he feels disrespected enough to go on a fan's page that like isn't a famous person, has barely that many views, like relatively, and say like, "Yeah, I get that." I think that's saying something. I don't know. Your thoughts on that, Slim Dookie?
To be a sports fan is to suffer. Because suffering makes the triumph so much better. I guarantee you, if the Lakers win a championship that year or this year, that kid will feel nothing. He will feel like, "Oh, cool, my team won." No, they didn't. Your team is wearing red, white, and blue, Chief.
Wow.
I stand by that, man. Like, look, if you're in high school and you're just like, "Yeah, I never really had a team. This is where I grew up, but I just kind of wanted to pick a team." Pick a team. If you pick a team that's really good, I'll think a little bit less of you. I think you're insecure about some things. However, it's okay, because guess what? In 5 years, when you're in college and you're an adult, they'll probably be bad. And you're not allowed to jump ship then. Not allowed. Can't do it.
Interesting. Okay. I think, man, I guess I'm going to take a little bit of a different perspective on this. I think I'm going to disagree with you on this. I think if your team, well, I do think that I agree with you that like part of being a sports fan is you do have to suffer sometimes, and that I fully agree. It does make the winning sweeter when it happens. But there is something to be said about like if an ownership group is just like locked in, refuses to give up the team, and they just continue running the team into the dirt. I do think at some point, like, malpractice deserves consequence. No. And if the consequence to bad ownership for like decades, and you're treating your players improperly, and you don't give your fans anything to root for, dude, if you spend 10 years rooting for a team and they've given you nothing to care about, I do think you are within your rights to be like, I can't keep pouring myself into this team and like rooting for them. They're disrespecting me, the fan.
Within your rights, sure, but I don't respect you.
Why?
I don't respect you.
I don't get that.
Because you don't pull for a team because you're supposed to get something out of it. You pull for the team because that's your team. You pull for the team because that's the first team that you fell in love with. That's why you pull for the team. It doesn't matter what stage of life it was. If you fell in love with that team, that's your team. For most people, it's the city they grew up in or the closest city with a pro sports team. Like think about this. imagine how a Washington Commanders fan felt when, what was his name?
Alex Smith.
Schneider. Dan.
Yeah.
The guy who owned the Commanders.
Yeah.
This would have been a great clip. I screwed it. But
you started over and just say the guy who owned the Commander.
Oh, hold on. Redskins former owner.
Whoa.
He was the owner of the Redskins. I'm just kidding. He never owned it. Actually, maybe he did own the Commanders. Dan Snyder.
Yes.
Imagine how good it must have felt as a Washington Commanders fan to wake up and get the ESPN alert on your phone that says Dan Snyder has sold the Commanders. Must have felt great.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is like, you don't like, if you really want to protest, don't buy merch. Watch the games on Stream East so they don't get any revenue. Don't go to games. Support, like, if you love the team, it shouldn't matter. You can be frustrated. I'm very frustrated with the state of the Dallas Mavericks right now. Very frustrated. I wouldn't ever dream of being like, oh, I'm just a blah 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 fan now. I would never dream of it.
Well, yeah, but you also haven't. That's not like you guys have won a championship. You've had historically good players. You just got the number one pick. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's dude. That's what some people get.
But dude, you know how many Mavericks fans just jumped ship?
Well, okay, but
so many.
I agree with you. Okay, I agree with you on this Mavericks point. I am not. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say being a Mavericks fan it's ready to jump ship. I'm talking about if you're a Browns fan, bro. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan, they've given you nothing. But
it's not about what you. It's not about what they're giving you. It's your team.
It is.
It's family.
I want to enjoy watching my team play. What's the point? How masochist to just be like, I guess I just spend the rest of my days just hating the sport.
To be fair,
like
when my team is bad, I can watch other teams play and be like, this is fun. I like this team. I hope they win. They're not my team.
Sure.
You know, I can still watch my team and be like, they suck. It's frustrating, but it's not like here's a hot take. If you care enough about a sport to switch teams when your team has been bad for a while, I think you're putting a little too much into how you let the outcome of these games affect your life. Because I am down with being a diehard sports fan, but if you're upset for a few days after your team loses on Sunday or Saturday, you have an issue. I love sports. I get angry. I yell at my TV. I jump up in the air. I stand during the second half a lot. But when it's over, it's over. You know? And this is getting really deep, which I love it. I like this. I like this conversation.
I do too.
Like, if you're like, this is affecting my life so negatively that I have to make a big switch, like, you're too deep, man. You care too much.
But is it?
You can still watch the sport.
Okay.
You know, like if you want to switch, you're like, because your team is bad. I think you need a win somewhere in your life that you can't handle this anymore, and that's an area that you need to address elsewhere. Chief.
I don't disagree with that.
Thank you.
But if you okay, I'm going to get philosophical with you for a second. You ready for this?
Yeah.
In your statement now, you both implied that sports aren't that deep, and then also implied that switching teams would be a big switch in your life. So there's sort of a juxtaposition there in your logic behind how much someone should care about a sports team. To say that it's a big life switch with bigger implications to jump ship on a team.
I think it says more about what's going on elsewhere in your life than it being a big switch. I don't know if I don't want it to be misunderstood of what I meant by
I'm
like
nitpicking language
switch.
for the sake of it's semantics a little bit. I get that, but I also
you're
I wanted to know what you meant by that.
You're congressing me right now.
No, that's
not
true.
Is it true that you said?
No, that's not true at all. I'm not congressing you at all. I simply noted the usage of your language, and wanted to further understand what you meant by that, which is really Plato and Socrates level shit. If you ask me.
Who's who? Who's Plato and who's Socrates?
I think I'm Socrates.
Who did more lewd things? Probably the one you are.
I want to read.
We got some good chats. Here. We'll get to it.
Can we read?
Is that what you were going to do?
I was going to say I want to read these chats because we have a guy in chat. I was saying
too, man. This is a good one. You got it.
So, dude, I want to read this chat because this is from Zham, who commented earlier. While is a Jets fan, and I would argue this is a good perspective to have because the Jets have been bad for a long time, and this
Jets
is a team
probably the team that, like, when I think of, I respect fans the most that are still like that have been Jets fans their whole lives and are maybe in their 30s or 40s now. I'm like, yeah, you guys, you've been through it, but go ahead.
It'd be like just quickly if we had to hit some of the teams, it'd be like Jets, Browns, Wizards, Hornets, like those are the first four teams. Pelicans. Yeah, that's probably those are the
White
first
Sox, White Sox for baseball. Yeah,
White Sox,
sure.
Angels. I'm an Angels
Mets,
fan. I have some perspective
Angels,
on
Mets.
This. But the Angels were also good like in the early 2000s, so it's hard. Yeah, Mets. Mets were good recently. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, and for reference, Zham is 30, the Jets fan. Growing up, my family didn't watch football, and I remember the Patriots playing the Panthers in the Super Bowl. So I said, I'm a Patriots fan. I never really watched any games. Then had a friend move to my school who was a Packers fan, so I decided to be a Packers fan, but still never watched games. When Brett Favre got traded to the Jets, I finally decided to really do my own thing and follow him. And to be a Jets fan, to follow him and be a Jets fan. Worst decision of my life, but I physically can't quit on them. I can't get down with a ship jumper, even though I've threatened it many, many times. So this is actually a very good case study for what we're talking about right now because you were young. You were young when you were deciding your team, and you had sort of outside influence, and then you decided, no, I'm getting into my adult life here. I am going to pick a team and stick with them. I'm going to follow the Jets, and you regret it, but you stick with them. This is a good take to have. Underneath this is a comment from Thickums, which is funny to say in a serious context right now. Anthony's a buddy of mine. Sorry, I didn't mean to expose your real government first name there, Thickums.
Whoa.
I agree with Slim Dookie here. As a diehard Angels fan who has the worst ownership in sports, I want to be a Dodgers fan so bad, but my heart won't let me do it. I can't root for another team. I agree with Thickums on this. I am also a lifelong Angels fan. Granted, I don't really follow baseball as much, but I have also dealt with the headache of having arguably the worst ownership in sports with the Angels. Like truly, you have to remember with the Angels, we've had two generational talents walk through the doors and we did nothing with it. Nothing with it. Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani were on the team at the exact same time. A smaller market team, really, because they're Anaheim. They say Los Angeles, but it's an Orange County-based team. Had two generational prospects walk through the door and they did fuck all with it. And then let Shohei walk for nothing. I'll be honest. It did come a point where I was like, maybe I'm just going to become a Dodgers fan. Maybe I just will, because this is so unbelievably malpractice, so bad for viewers. It's so bad for the fans. We have nothing to root for. They have continued time and time again to blow it. I have wanted to, and I haven't done it yet. But here's my caveat to this. In 10 years, in a decade from now, if we're tiptoeing into 2040 and the Angels have done nothing, like they are bottom of the barrel, haven't had a season over 500 in forever, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about they've won a championship. I'm not talking about if they even just have a season over. If they just get to the playoffs, I'm talking about. That's all I need as a fan to be like, okay, I'm still in, fine. But I'm talking about if they are just time and time again the worst team in the league over and over and over again. A decade from now, I'm telling you right now, I will say this on record right now, I will no longer be an Angels fan. I'm not saying I'll jump to the Dodgers. I'll figure out a new team.
Siri, set alarm for 2040, please.
For 2040. If by 2040 the Angels haven't even sniff the play, they haven't come close to the playoffs, they haven't made a playoff, they haven't made it to the playoffs, I will jump ship. And actually, I don't think that the viewership of me as a fan from other fans of other teams should be like, I lose respect for that, or like I can't get with that. I think that is completely reasonable to say this ownership has given me nothing to care about, and they continue to drive something that I love into the ground. I can't keep doing this. That's a toxic relationship. That's a toxic relationship. You can't keep enabling.
Look,
You're
an
an
enabler.
enabler.
Take your fancy therapy words.
You're an enabler.
Here's the way I view my teams.
Okay.
It's family. My family, look, if my siblings, they don't, I have a fantastic family. I thank God for my family every single day. They're great. But if they screwed me over and over and over and over again, I would still love them. They're family. It's like, dude, look, maybe I'm not going to let you borrow money anymore. I'm not speaking from real experience or anything. But I'm not going to let you borrow my money anymore, but I still love you and I'm still going to be there for you. You know, I can't let you affect me anymore. But, you know, if I'm watching you fight another guy, I'm still going to root for you, I guess. I don't know. But like, that's the way I see it, is like, dude, you pick your team. And I want to go back to Zham here. He said, I can't get down with a ship jumper, even though I've threatened him many times. But he just said, worst decision of my life, but I physically can't quit them. It's like, that's the way it should be. Because guess what? You're a Jets fan. It sucks right now. You had hope with Rodgers. It didn't work out. You get Justin Fields. You kind of, there's a little bit of a hubbub in the preseason about like, hey, this offense with Justin Fields, and they go out and they play a pretty good game against the Steelers, but they lose. It's downhill from there. But just imagine one day, the clock is winding down to 0. You got Arch Manning in victory formation, wearing the Jets green, man. Like, think about it. I got chills right now, man. I got some goosebumps.
Okay.
It would be incredible.
It is. It's sweet. I agree with you. But you have to remember, I'm talking about like a nuanced take on this. Mendoza.
All caps.
There was a comment.
I got ZM fired up.
ZM said Mendoza.
So he doesn't want Arch and Green, whatever.
I agree with you that you do have to stick with it. I'm not saying don't stick with it. There's a nuance to what I'm saying. You're just saying
give up eventually is what you're saying.
There's a nuance to what I'm saying. I'm saying if they give you nothing for decades, which is different, because what I'm saying is like, even if they just have like a season above 500, even if they're just like, if they're in the running for the playoffs, if they're like, oh, we got 2 games left here and they might make the playoffs, that's something. That's fine. That's fine. So I'm not saying just because your team is not winning the championship or not winning it. I'm just simply talking about if your team is like bottom 2 for multiple decades and the ownership refuses to do anything about it, I do think there does come a time. And I think to use your example of like if a sibling did this to you, right? Because I think that's a really good way to put that. I love my sister dearly. She's great. She would never do anything like this. But I'm just saying, in a hypothetical, if my sister for like 2 decades really just kept going down the wrong path, and I kept trying to help, and I kept doing everything in my power, I can still love her and not support or enable that behavior.
For sure.
You could still from afar be like, man, I hope the Angels turn it around sometime, but I can't keep being a part of this, and I'm not going to do it anymore. I refuse to do it.
I have some nuance here, and you can throw logical fallacy at me, but I do truly believe this.
Okay.
If your team being so bad that it makes you not like them, and that doesn't just kind of turn you off from the sport, like not like to where you're like, I can't pick another team. I don't care anymore. I still will watch maybe. But like, if that doesn't just turn you off to having a team, then I don't think you're a real fan.
So
I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sense of like, and maybe that's not the greatest way to do it. I think maybe this is more of a Schrodinger's cat. It's like, if you do jump ship, you were never a fan. If you were like, this is my team, and then I left because they were bad for a decade, it's like you were never a fan.
Yeah, I could understand that. It's a good point. I'm not going to call logical fallacy because I do think there's something to be said there. I don't think that's a bad point at all. I think it's a good point. I don't really have anything to refute that with. I think you might be right. You might be right. Maybe the version of like if you give up on a team, I suppose you have to give up on the sport entirely and just be like, I guess I'm just a neutral viewer from now on.
That's my take. And look, if people do it, I'm gonna have my opinions. Like,
sure,
I don't care. I think that honestly, like, and this might piss off some people. I think if you're a fan of a player, especially in the NBA, and you just follow that player around, I think you're kind of a loser.
Yeah,
I think you're a loser. Like, I think that's a very broad statement. And there's a lot of kids that are just like, oh, I just like this player. It's like, you like him because he's good, and everywhere he goes, he wins. That's why you like the player, not the team, because you're afraid of having this thing in your life not be this thing you can just continuously go to for dopamine and serotonin.
I agree with you actually I actually really do agree that you should support a team and not player. I do agree with that. You can love players and really I love Jalen Brunson. I love Jokic. I root for their success on an individual basis. But when they play the Lakers, team? I want them to lose.
Yeah.
That's just straight up. There is a pecking order to how much I care about teams. But I just think I think and maybe two things can be true here. We might both be right to some capacity. There's also, this isn't like really a right or wrong situation. It's just like our perspective.
It's just opinions.
But
see, this is what the Greeks just dreamed about, is two fellas just thousands of miles away, just conversing.
We truly are
they would have killed for this. This conversation would have taken them decades of just writing letters and sending a pigeon.
Pigeons back and forth.
Yeah. Crows.
No, I think most people in the chat are agreeing with you here on like, if you're going to have to jump ship, you should just have to give up the sport or whatever. I'm fine with being in the minority on this take. That's okay. I understand that. And Zham, who is the Jets fan that we've been talking with here, says, if you officially jump ship and then in your lifetime the team wins a championship, what does your heart and or brain say? And this is a really interesting thought to have here, because my gut reaction here, just reading this question, is I go, if I gave up on the Angels in 2040 and then in 2060 they turned it around and they won the championship, I would be devastated, because I'd be like, I can't really celebrate that. I should have stuck with it. So that's a good point. That is a good point. And again, I want to provide the context of, it would take a lot for me to get to the point of like legitimately jumping ship. So we are talking about decades worth of never, ever even coming close to the playoffs. So that's like a rare situation. I don't know how many teams let me put it this way.
The only team that comes close is the White Sox, bro. The White Sox have been so bad for so long.
Genuinely, that's what I'm saying here is like, I don't even know, like, I actually do agree with everything that you've said, and I do agree with everything you guys are saying, because in my very specific circumstance here, I actually don't know that it's even happened. Do you know what I mean?
And you know what, Connor? I don't know you like super, super, super well, but I feel like we've talked enough to where I know who you are.
Yeah.
I don't think you wouldn't do it. You would just be like, damn it, dude, I'm not going anywhere.
I wouldn't. You're right. I wouldn't. I'm with Anthony. I couldn't possibly. I thought about it. I was like, should I just become a Dodgers?
Like, just dude in you,
Resolve.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a little too much guy, a little too much dude, a little too much male.
I think you're right. And here's again, to provide some more nuance here. I would never. I agree with you. I would never.
It's just we've been talking about this for like 30 minutes. This is fantastic.
It's a really good. Honestly, I think this is a really interesting topic.
I think so too.
The last thing we can say on this, and we can kind of move on here, and you can have your piece at the end here too. But like the last thing I'll say about this,
I've said what I need to say.
I agree.
No, seriously. I think
no. I know it's just phrased like an intervention. I've said really.
But truly, I think you've done a great job of summing up my point and your own as well. So
thanks.
Please.
Sorry, I didn't mean to see here's what you're saying. But
no, you hit the nail on the head. I'd correct you if you didn't.
Totally. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I respect you for that. And the long and the short of this topic is I would personally never do it, even if I had all the reason in the world to. I also think that the situation is rare, and we probably have only seen it in a handful of franchises. Like honestly, I'm thinking like Browns, White Sox maybe are the two that come to mind that have the best case for it, where they've like never even come close to a playoff game in the last whatever. And I don't even know if that's true off the top of my head. I'm just saying, my only point is, if in this rare circumstance we had decades worth of malpractice here. That to the extent that I'm talking about, to the degree that I'm talking about, I would not lose respect for a fan if they jumped ship. But I'm not saying that I'm not saying they should do it. I'm not saying it's something that I encourage, and I'm not saying it's something that I would do. That's the final sort of nuance I'll provide to my take. And we'll go. The last comment here, is that what you're about to read?
Yeah. Well, and I was even just going to say, like, oh my gosh, you hear those sirens?
I do.
Coming for me, man.
Yeah.
They heard I'm just spitting facts. They're like, this is too much truth for the people.
That's the fire department coming because we've been spitting so much heat.
Some hot takes, baby.
These takes are so damn hot.
Yeah. I mean, this is a fantastic discussion. I might
I really like this,
like
actually.
30 minutes for YouTube, bro, and just post it as a separate clip.
Dude, honestly, you should. Yeah, you should.
But
were you
I
going
wanted
to read
say
the last
real
couple
quick.
comments here?
Yeah, I will do that. I just wanted to say real quick, I have so many friends. I went to school in Ohio. I have so many friends that are Browns fans, and they watch every single game every single Sunday. And I have seen games. I remember the first OBJ year in Cleveland. They get OBJ. They got Jarvis Landry too. They look good. Like,
yeah,
everyone's talking about them in the preseason, like America's new team. And I'm like, hey man, I'll pull for the Browns this year. Not obviously more than the Bills, but I'm like, totally. I'm on it. I'm on the wagon. I watched them play the Titans in week 1. I watched Derrick Henry run for like 90 yards in 2 drives. And I watched my buddy go like with his Jarvis Landry jersey, silently walk upstairs, take it off, and then just come back downstairs without the jersey and sit back down and watch the rest of the game without saying a word. And if I asked him, why are you still a Browns fan? He would just be like, it's my team.
Yeah.
But I was
that's the way it should be.
Go ahead.
That is the way it should be. You should stick with them to the thick and thin. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying,
Yeah. No, you're good. He said, Zham said, I understand and respect Willie's opinion, but I don't think you have the actual ability to do it. Coming from someone who hasn't watched a playoff team in literally almost half my life. Yeah, it's tough to. The longest playoff drought in sports is the Jets at 14 years. When's the last time the White Sox were in the playoffs, dude?
Yeah.
I know I keep going White Sox, but like they've been really bad for a long time.
Yeah, they have been. So I would say in this circumstance, like Zham, I agree. You shouldn't jump ship on the Jets right now. Like you shouldn't. I agree with that. I'm saying if in 20 years you were still saying that, if in 20 years you said the Jets have the longest playoff drought at 24 or at 34 years, which is like, I'm saying this is like a rare instance. Like I don't know if this would ever even happen, but I'm just saying if that were to be the case, Zham, I would be like, hey man, I get it if you're just like not a Jets fan anymore. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
I would say don't do it. I would say that's your team.
Fair. I would agree.
And you're a man. And if you gotta hit yourself in the head with a hammer to snap yourself out of it, you better do it.
I agree. I would also tell you not to do it, but I would understand if you did, and it wouldn't make me respect you any less. Anyway,
I would look at you different,
and Slim Dookie would look at you differently. And that's okay. And weird. I mean, honestly, as we're talking about this stuff, like the last kind of thing we'll mention. Sorry, wow!
Put the chat up on screen. Jacob said Angels have the longest playoff drought in the Major League Baseball. By the way, it's longer than the White Sox.